Hey guys, Josh from Dodgy Dailies here, and you guessed it, we're working on the VE again. This time it's very much in depth, and if you know VEs, you know what they're common for, and that is timing chains. And that's what I got a crack into last night. It was obviously too dark. I needed my phone as a torch because I was not prepared to sort of do it. I just kind of got home and decided to do it. This morning I've gone into work and grabbed a whole heap of tools, but this is sort of where I got up to last night before I packed up. You're doing chains, airbox out, intake tube off, belt off, accessories off. You've got to take power steering off, unbolt the AC. I don't actually think the AC needed to come off, because it doesn't look like that's going to foul on that cover, but the power steering bracket definitely needs to. And I'm going to try and leave the alternator on because I don't think that's going to foul either. This bolt here is being a right pain. It's just gone really tight, and the whole reason I couldn't keep going last night was because I left the harmonic balancer puller at work. Now I've got that, I should be able to keep cracking on. Rocker covers off, so manifold off, rocker covers off. Bought a locking tool yesterday, and that locking tool was literally, like, with my trade discount, it was like $100. I think they retail at about 120, 130. This is the kit that you need to do the job. The more expensive ones out there, possibly better quality. These ones haven't been used 100 times, so they're going to be a pretty good fit for what I need to do. Obviously, as they get used, sometimes the holes might get a bit worn. But being a brand new kit, I wouldn't worry about too much. I'll probably even be able to use this at work for obviously quite a lot. I don't usually own specialty tools, but because of the price of it, I just couldn't pass it up. So that's old manifold. OTR's down there. I got the OTR adapter, so I've got to modify it a bit later to fit that up. I don't think I'm going to do that this go around. I think I'm just going to bolt it all back on via stock airbox. New water pump. Got a chains kit from Max Beating Rod. Everything looks good. It was $150, so that was pretty reasonable. New rocker cover gasket kits, and yeah. So I'm going to keep cracking on with it, and I'll get this harmonic balancer off and we'll go from there. Borrowed the harmonic balancer puller from the workshop, which has been there well and truly before I started working there. And someone has lost the snout that's meant to go there. So what I did was I used a big washer and a wheel nut. I put the concave side to the crank, and then obviously the washer was there to try and help it stop it from going backwards, and it worked quite well. So kit fixed. I don't have to buy a new one because that is stupid expensive. So the one that I used is don't think you can read that on this camera. It's GGT 1800 from G&G Technics. It's a pretty good one. I've used them hundreds of times. I think my old workshop had the same brand. Yeah, they're not too bad. We got that bracket off. That bolt was just dumb tight. Ended up having to use my really long bar on it, and I was getting scared. I sprayed it with inox and it come off. The Harmo was a bit rusted on, which is kind of a good thing, which means it's never come off before. That dowel, make sure you never lose that. So next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to try and leave the sensors in, just because I don't want to get any of them mixed up. But next thing to do is I'm going to take the power steering bracket off, and then I'm going to try and get the timing cover off. A neat trick, this bonnet holder, this bonnet latch, actually holds my phone perfectly against that and in there. I claim it's for efficiency. People say it's because I'm lazy. It's a bit of both. But I have 1, 2, 3 electric ratchets, all with different sizes on them, so I don't have to keep swapping my sockets on the electric ratchet. I do want to get another
I don't know if I want to get another long neck or another shorty, or if I'm just going to keep flogging this Tool Pro one, because I like having this Tool Pro one at home. So at work I usually just have the 2, but right now I need a 10, 15 and an 18 for most things that I'm doing. So having all 3 of them on the go is absolutely mint. The timing cover itself, I think there's, I can't remember, I'm going to have to be very careful with it. I think there's 3 bolts at the bottom here off the sump. I'm not exactly certain. Actually, let's just stick you down there and I can have a look. No, okay, it doesn't appear to be 3 bolts at the sump, so that's good. I need to make sure I didn't damage that last night. No, they're good there, which is awesome. And that looks like it's just the bolts in the front there. So a good thing to do when doing something like this, grab a bit of cardboard, draw a pattern, and put your holes in. Well, you don't have to draw a pattern, but put your bolts in a bit of cardboard the whole way around so they go exactly back where they came from. So this is where the fun part actually begins. So you want to get your crank bolt, put some washers in there. There is an actual special tool for turning this one, but this is what I do, a couple of washers so we don't bottom out the bolt in there, because if you bottom it out, it has a high chance of snapping. So a couple of washers, and just thread it in, and then you want to rotate it around. There is timing marks, but more or less you just want to turn it around so you can get those cam locking tools in. Once those cam locking tools in, you start stripping it down. So as always, when I'm doing stuff at home, the fuck up fairy came to visit. I cracked 2 sockets, and one of the threads on the crank bolt decided to be a bit iffy. So I've just had to go to Repco. So the Max Speeding Rods timing chain kit does not come with the gasket for the water pump, and not the main water pump one, the one that goes between the timing cover and the block. But good thing Repco in Cessnock came in clutch for me. They had a full timing cover gasket kit. I knew I was going to need rocker cover gaskets. Look, in hindsight, I really should have checked this kit out a bit more. But I opened the box, looked at it, went, yep, chains, cool, closed the box. And yeah, I went back and checked the description on the Max Speeding Rods website, and there is no gaskets in the description. But I can give you the part number when I get home for that timing cover kit. And you also need rocker cover gaskets, which I already knew that, and I've already bought them. So yeah, I mean, like, this Commodore has almost 400,000 Ks on it, and I'm just doing a complete refresh on it. Because it will be my tow car, my camping car, and it's just going to be my daily beater for a while, so I want it to last. Now, normally with dodgy dailies, we're modifying cars to the point where they, really can't be used on the road. But we've also, done a switch around with certain jobs and turned dodgy dailies into good cars, and that's sort of what I'm doing with this one. This one was a dodgy daily. Now it's going to be a good car. So I bought the car for $2,000. I've spent, I had to get a windscreen. I did control arms and a link pin because there was a knock that I couldn't be bothered to diagnose. The knock is gone. In the previous video, you would have seen that I got some rims as well. I can't actually remember everything that I put into the previous video right now, but look, the timing chain light come on for camshaft codes, and I was like, you know what, just do it. Look, for a shop to do it, it's about $2,500 to $3,000. I'm into it now at $150, about $300, $400 in parts to do the timing. And I can give all the part numbers, and you can decide for yourself if you want to buy a full kit or if you want to piece it together like I have. Piecing it together like I have is a little bit of a pain in the ass, but so far it's come out that little bit cheaper.
So I'm not going to complain too much. It's just the thing of not just... If I just bought the full kit for $1,100, I wouldn't have had to go to Remco twice now. So that's, yeah, that's where the thing is. Like, you've got to really assess what you're doing. Everyone that I've done through the workshop, I've always gone with a full kit from Burson's or Genuine. Sometimes like piecing together a kit for Genuine actually turns out cheaper than buying a kit aftermarket. And I've done a couple of Genuine kits, and I've done aftermarket kits, and this is the first one I've ever done where I've had to piece it all together. So we'll see how this goes. I'm either going to be up for a motor, or I'm never going to have to do it again. Yes, Max isn't helping me with this because he's bullying me for buying a Commodore, which is pretty fair. This is a bit of my Repco haul just then. Just a basic socket set, a couple of brushes, and here's that timing cover set. Because I needed this butterfly gasket, but I guess the good thing is I can do all the other gaskets too while I'm there. And that's actually a pretty good kit. We have one at my workshop. And the rocker cover kits are just those ones there. You got an R and an L. Yeah, and then this is the max speeding rods. Timing kit. I don't actually think there was a part number on it, but you know, no, there's no part number on the box. But I guess, you know, if you're gonna be doing it, you'll be typing in the exact car that you've got, and you'll be able to pick it out that way. Fuck-up Fairy really loves me today. That's a brand new can, and it's fucked. I dropped it, so I'm probably gonna have to go buy more tomorrow. I don't know how to stop it from doing that. Okay, so the Fuck-up Fairy only had a small visit, so the must have damaged just a thread in the crank with the puller. I was able to fix that nice and quickly with a tap, so I bought that. So now I've got that in, I can uncover everything and actually get back to where we were up to. So with these instructions, you have to read them very carefully, because you do left hand, bottom, there's 2 stages to it. Look, I've never followed the whole staging thing. I always just go off the stage 2 picture, lock everything up at stage 2, replace the chains, because if nothing's moved, everything's fine. Look, it's never gone me wrong, so I just lock mine up at stage 2 and go from there. So locking tool there, find all your dots, make sure all your dots are lining up with a link. These ones down here are a bit harder to see, so you just got to use a mirror and a torch, and then you get a paint marker. Make sure you mark everything, because you need your marks to go back in the exact same spot. So your new chains will come with some coloured links. Now you could sit here and rotate and rotate and rotate till the day ends to try and line up the original coloured links, because there's one there, there's one there, and there'll be another one. I don't know, there'll be another one somewhere else, but you don't need to do that. So what you do is you grab your old chain or your new chain, you find your colour links, because if you're unsure where to mark it, you just sort of lay it like that, sort of match up your links, and then mark it on the new colours. Like, yeah, sort of put that, line it up. Now, where's my 2 coloured ones? I'll try and, there we go, try and do this one-handed. That there, and I'll put you down. So you sit that on there, you have an idea on where now, because it's got multiple marks on each gear, but now if you lay it on there like that, you have an idea on where each mark needs to be, and that tells me that one's there and that one's there. Another way to do it too is just find your first one and then count from link to link. So I counted from this one to this one and then marked it, matching from the new chains to what needs to go onto that. Once you're confident you got all your marks in the right spot,
Yeah, they should somewhat match the diagrams, but once you're confident you've marked everything and got everything in the right spot, this one here is a bit harder to mark because you've got to look through that hole. But you see I just got a dot on it, and then I've counted that around and it is right. Once you've got that done, you start tearing it down, and you start with the right hand side. If you start getting too carried away and stripping everything down, make sure you crack the bolts for, I think they're just an idler gear. But yeah, make sure you crack the bolts for your idler gear, and make sure you take your harmonic balancer bolt back out, otherwise you'll be in for a rough time. Now it's all stripped down, you're going to want to just go through, clean everything. Make sure you have a rag here across the bottom of the sump so nothing falls. Try and avoid things falling in. If you can, just sort of tuck that rag in. Yes, you're going to soak up some of your oil, but you're going to be doing an oil change anyway. Like, if you're not doing an oil change when you're doing this, then something's wrong with you. But yeah, so just stuff that in there, and then we just try and avoid anything going in that sump. So there we go. So rag's all stuffed in, and let's start trying to clean everything. Yeah, new gears, but we'll worry about all of that in just a moment once it's all nice and clean. Look, it's not an enjoyable job, but it's easy. It's more time consuming than it is difficult. So as long as you've got the time and the patience, the train's not that bad. So I've started going back together now. Now take it slow going back together. So I'm going to stick you down there just so I can see. Yep, you've got that black link. I coloured it orange so I could see it easier. But then you got my orange mark, lines up with a black link. Orange mark, black link. I'm happy with that. I can now tighten everything down. Leave your pin in. Do not pull that pin until all of it's done. Then you pull all 3 pins. Okay, because you pull that pin, something down here may rotate, and it won't leave you, like, you see that little bit of wiggle room? You won't have that if you pull that pin now. I've got all that back together now. A little bit of movement back and forth because the old chains were super stretched. These ones are, yeah, I had to move some gears around because the plates, they're not an exact, well, they are an exact fit. They lock the motor up, but they leave that little bit of wiggle room for any sort of slack within the chain, and how tight the new ones are. So, but one thing you need to do when you do it is, as you tighten each one of your bolts, paint mark them. And then sometimes what I like to do is I'll get a second color, and then I will recheck every single bolt and put a paint marker on with a second color to show that I've checked it twice, because it is engine internals and you do not want them coming loose. Now that we're this far into it, we're going to take our locking tools out. We're going to rotate the motor and make sure they go back in. If they go back in, we know they're all good, and we're going to make sure our marks, not the chain, forget the chain now, those coloured links do not matter. Just make sure our orange dots go back to where they start, and then we'll recheck every single timing mark. Again, forget about the coloured links now, they're irrelevant, you'll never get them to line up again. The most important thing is if those locking tools line back up, and if that is in the right spot. So to get that locking tool back in, I did have to give it a little bit of a wiggle, which is fine. And this is where it helps to have your old one marked, because I was able to go back to the old one and count from dot to dot on the links, and that's fine. So I can get the locking tool back in, that's lined up, everything's lined up. We're good to finish cleaning that up, clean the timing cover, and put it all back together. Now all of that's sorted, everything's good, I'm happy with it. Marks line up, all the marks line up. I've got paint dots on every single bolt. I know they're all tight. It's time to clean that, clean the rocker covers. I've already cleaned the motor down, so I don't really have to worry about a little bit more around the back there, around the rocker cover area. But yeah, basically the rest of my afternoon is going to be cleaning
I will catch back up with you guys when I'm ready to put the timing cover on, I guess, or once the timing cover's on, or whenever I feel like it, to be honest. The rest of my afternoon will be spent cleaning all of these parts and getting it ready to go back together. But to clean this timing cover, you probably remember at the start of the video, it was black and gross. I just got some oven cleaner, sprayed it on there for 5 minutes, let it sit and then hosed it. Now I'm just changing all the seals out. I'm about to knock these ones in with that socket and then knock in the other two. So as you can see now, it's quite dark. Let me just... There we go, that's better. It's quite dark now. It's all cleaned up. I've already put the cover back, cleaned it, siliconed it, replaced all the seals. I always like to write on the timing covers, because you don't get a sticker with a chain kit like you do a T-belt kit. So I just write the K's, the date, I sign it, chain's done. And then I will mark again with a different colour, just because I like to do things with different colours. Every bolt that I've done, I still got to mark those two, or I think I need to check those two. But that's sort of where I'm up to. It's very dark now. Still going. Gonna stop for dinner, charge up some of my batteries. Everything's starting to get a bit slow and weak, and I'm having to double check literally every bolt now instead of just checking the important ones. I have to check every single one now, because they're all starting to not be tight when they get home, just because all the batteries are getting a bit weak. So charge some of them up, and then I'll just rotate them out as I'm charging them. But yeah, time for something to eat. I have something to eat actually. Got both the rocker covers on. I've got the harmonic balancer on. The harmonic balancer bolt is done up to German spec of good and tight. It's not fucking coming undone. I rattled on it and just prayed it didn't break. It didn't break, and it's tight. Everything's paint marked for the timing cover. Not going to paint mark the rocker covers because that's fucking whatever. They're easy to do again if they leak, but it's also proof that, you know, it's been done, because I don't plan to keep this car. I plan to use this car to tow Beamer a couple of times, and maybe even and go to Bathurst with it, and then maybe even just swap it or do something else with it. Maybe try and sell it. I'm not sure, but I'm just gonna use it for its purpose for a little while and try and sell it. So yeah, right. Had some dinner. Got a jumper on now. Water pump. This goes on the front of the timing cover. That kit that I got, I'll set that in there for the moment. That timing seal kit that I got came with a metal water pump gasket. I'm going to use that one over the felt one, just because that's my preference. The metal one has a ridge on it and is less likelihood of failure. With every water pump I do, regardless of metal or felt gasket, I always put a bit of this former gasket on there. So people use silicone or whatever, but that's my preference. So that's all nice and clean in there. So I'll just get this scooped up and thrown on. I need to go find my water pump bolts. Water pumps all bolted on. They're just sort of finger tight. It's all gooped up. I've checked them all. I went around it with a quarter drive so I didn't go too tight, and then just sort of held the pulley and nipped up. Next up, I'm just going to do the AC, the power steering. You got the long bolts, two at the front, one at the back, and then for the power steer, you just go through the pulley, a hole there, and a hole there. So it's getting pretty late. It's 10 o'clock. So I've just kind of jumped the gun here. I've got the belt back on, got the filler neck on, power steer pumps on, obviously because all the accessories are on because the belts are on. But coils are in, they're all plugged in. Vacuum pumps back on. I'm about to throw the manifold on. And once the manifold's on, put some coolant in it, and coolant, airbox. So yeah, manifold, coolant, airbox. And I'll start her up. I will have to plug the scan tool in before I do anything and clear any codes that may be logged within the computer, just so I can see if any fresh shit pops up. Well, it's 10:30. Got it all buttoned up, got it running. Just got to keep an eye on that coolant level. I cleared all the codes. It misfired a little bit because I forgot to plug in cylinder 6 coil, plugged it back in, cleared the codes again, and she's running fucking mint. Now, it might take a couple of drive cycles before I see if there's any actual problems, but for now, finish cleaning up and go for a quick drive. There you have it. Timing chains on a VE commodore. Won't be the first, or not the first, and probably won't be the last. And now that I own the specialty tool to do the job, I'll probably try and do a few more. The kit's 100, I've got it for 100 on trade, 120 retail. Not a hard job to do, but if I'm going to do one, I quote roughly $2.5 grand at my workshop to do it, but if I'm doing it in someone's driveway, the price goes straight up to $3 grand. Because I started doing this at maybe 6 o'clock last night, went to bed at around 10, and then I started about 10 PM today. Maybe a bit late, actually no, probably a bit later than that, because I had to go to Repco, come home, back to Repco, Burson's home. I had a bit of a run around this morning. I might not have actually started until 12. But either way, it's about a 12 to 14 hour job. And if I were to do that in someone's driveway, yeah, it's going to be up to $3 grand quote. But yeah, she's running nice and smooth. And if you've made it this far, and if you've watched this one all the way to the end, and I know it's a long one, and I'm sorry about that. But thank you for watching, and good night.